right, good morning. I'm Amazing Grace, your fashion tutor. Today we are going to be looking at sewing terms. Sewing terms. As a fashion designer, you need to know some sewing terms. That will help you, pattern drafting terms / sewing terms. That will help you interpret pattern yourself. You won't be needing somebody to interpret the pattern for you. Okay? When you can buy pattern off the rack, as in you don't need to draft your pattern. There are some pattern makers that you can buy your patterns from. And when you buy this pattern, you should be able to interpret it. And we also have something called pattern alternation. Pattern alternation is when you buy a pattern that is not your size, or you have a pattern that is not your size and you don't want to buy another one. You can actually alternate it to suit what you want. And before you can do any of those, you need to be able to understand some sewing or pattern drafting term. So this morning we are going to be starting with the term front view, short form FV. That's the front view, just like the word connotes, the front side of the projects, the garments you are making. Then we also have back view. I want to abbreviate, just listen to me. That's the back side, the back view of your garments. Then we have side seam, the side. We also have a term called gray line direction. You need to understand your gray line. We have the lengthwise gray line, and the crosswise what? Gray line. The lengthwise gray line, when you are placing your pattern, we need you to place your pattern on your fabric such that it will respect this law of lengthwise and crosswise. You don't use crosswise for lengthwise and or lengthwise for crosswise. What do I mean? If I'm making a garment and I bring my pattern and I'm to place on a fabric, I will need my length. If you need to first identify which one is lengthwise and which one is crosswise. The lengthwise is the one parallel to the selvage. Now, selvage is a factory finished edge. Please be picking these terms as I go. I'm not writing everything. The selvage is the factory finished edge. That's part that is tightly woven. You can't rip it off. Now, we say the lengthwise is parallel to the floor. Now, let me draw this for you. If this is your fabric, if this is your selvage, this will be your selvage. And if you so position your fabric that this is your selvage, then this will be your selvage. So when I say your lengthwise is parallel to the floor, I mean this part will be your lengthwise. Once you identify your selvage as this and this, then this will be your lengthwise. The yarns going this way. Fabrics are made up of yarns interwoven into each other. So you have your lengthwise parallel to the floor, and you use this lengthwise for, you position your fabric such that, let's say we're making a skirt as a case study, then your skirt length will be positioned such that it will align with the lengthwise gray line. You will not put your skirt length to align with the crosswise. The crosswise is the one going this way. The crosswise yarns are slightly lighter than the lengthwise, and that will make it in some fabric there will be a degree of elasticity. Okay, and you will want anything with degree of elasticity to be on the cross. That's on the cross. Just watch my hand crossing your boobs. That's the bust area, the waist area, the hip area, the roundness of sleeve, the shoulder. Why the lengthwise, which is a yarn that is slightly thicker on a good quality fabric anyway. We can't be running every case study in this particular project. So we're talking about gray lines, and we're trying to understand gray line, one of the sewing terminologies we use a lot. And I'm saying the crosswise We have lengthwise gray line and we have crosswise gray line. And when you are positioning your pattern, you position your pattern such that your length, as in the vertical measurements such as blouse length, skirt length, trouser length, sleeve length, will align with your lengthwise gray line. You will not use it against, you will not cut across the gray. Now, another term you need to know is ease allowance. What is ease allowance? Ease allowance is that extra inch or centimeter you add to your actual body measurement that facilitates comfort. So at the end of the day, you find out that ease allowance, when you are making your dress, the ease allowance is actually part of the total measurement, the total value you will be using to lock up or close down your fabric when sewing. Now, this ease has no static measurement. This ease allowance, it varies from one style to the other, and it varies from one individual to the other. Why on a shift dress, I might even do 10-inch ease to my actual body measurement. On a fitted dress, I might just want 1-inch ease. Ease allowance is the extra inch you add to your actual body measurements that facilitates comfort. And you need to understand we also have sewing allowance. Sewing allowance is different from ease allowance. I define sewing allowance as a necessary waste. Waste, but necessary. At the end of the day, you have to sew them off. You need them. Because if you don't have sewing allowance, there is nothing you'll be using to close down your fabric. They'll be on the all edge will be loose. So they are necessary, but they are also waste, because at the end of the day, we have to do away with them. Why the ease allowance will become part of the actual body measurement, total body measurement. My bust measurement is 40. Bust measurement is 40. If I'm easing out at 4, it means I'll be sewing at 44. So even if I add 2 as my sewing allowance, and usually sewing allowance is added, it's better added after division, not before division. I've heard people who will like 44 plus 2 and they will sew off, but I normally would teach beginners to add their sewing allowance after division during pattern drafting. Okay, so we are looking at body measure, some sewing terms you need to know. And we have the front view, back view, side seam. We also have center front, center back. Okay, when you are analyzing a pattern, you need to do in-depth analysis of location. You need to do serious in-depth analysis so that you look at your center front and look out for things like, are they unfold, or if there is a seam on it. When we use the word unfold, sorry, I'm writing anyhow, just listening to me. It means that there is no seam line. It means that there is no seam line at all. When you are constructing, there will be no seam line at that center front. If I'm making a skirt now, look at this skirt now. Sorry. Now, this is my front view, and this is my back view. It's my zip. Okay. I will say the center front here is unfold because there is no detail here. Why the back will be, there is an opening. So you cannot use the word unfold for this particular term. Okay? We just want you as a beginner to be able to understand this thing, that what do you mean by front view, what do you mean by back view. When somebody says shoulder seam, side seam, one thing I like about our field is that things are actually named after their location. Unlike science, where I can name an event after my name, in sewing, in the fashion industry here, yes, we actually name styles after some people's name, but it's not that for pattern drafting. Okay? And I like that because it makes the journey very easy. And I think for this particular one, we'll call it a day.